Thanks for bringing this up. So I'm a psychologist, a consumer of research, and a practitioner, so I'm all about providing clarifying information. According to the U.S. Centers of Disease and Prevention, in a 2013 study, they found that 70% of Black fathers who were in the household were more likely to have bathed, to help dress, to help their children with the toilet every day, more likely than their white counterparts as well as their Hispanic counterparts. So let's continue to shed light on and celebrate Black fatherhood. Happy Father's Day.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Hey, TikTok.
Yo, everyone, you here with the Black Intellectual. So we have a special episode. Just wanted to talk about Black fatherhoods and how the truth about Black fatherhoods needed to come out. And I will say, within these last couple of years, it appears to be that the truth about how Black men are actually involved in our kids' lives has finally hit the limelight. Right now, I will say, I wish we were more married to the women we have kids with. Right, like I really do wish we did that more because we really need to do that more. But just because we're divorced or separated or not in our baby mom's life don't mean we're not in our kids' lives. And I'm so glad we finally started to see the correlation between Black kids being fatherless or just Black dads not being with the mom. But somehow the miscommunication came up of Black kids being fatherless, which meant because the parents aren't together, the kids don't have a dad at home. Now, I am an advocate for the Black family. I am an advocate for Black people to make families because I'm tired of us not being together. But I am also an advocate for the Black male ethnic image, which needs to be A, repaired, and B, fixed, not lied on, things like that. Because basically, it just seems like no matter where the numbers come from on Black men, it seems like they always hit the media and they always go left when we need to make sure the media make sure Black male statistics go right. This is why I'm kind of like this YouTube Black media space is beautiful because we're putting the truth out there, but not everyone comes to YouTube or Patreon or TikTok or whatever to get their information. So we got to make so like the news outlets are even telling the truth. And speaking of telling the truth, I kind of want y'all to see something that I already put in a previous video.
Study from the Center for Disease Control, which debunked many of the myths surrounding Black fathers. It found that the majority of Black fathers live with their children. Black fathers are more likely to help their children with their homework, prepare meals, bathe and dress their children compared to fathers of other races. So the absent or deadbeat Black father myth that many in America believe is really more like a lie.
So the reason why I wanted to reuse that TikTok from a previous video that I just uploaded not that long ago, titled "The Internet Has Been Black Men's Best Friend," is because that is one of the most pivotal TikToks to come out in such a long time. Why? Because it has one of the number one contenders for lying on Black men for years, basically having to tell the truth. And the fact that it is coming from her is almost hilarious in hindsight because she made billions of dollars off trashing the Black male name. Did she help out a lot of people? Yeah. Let's make sure we understand that Oprah has done a lot for the Black community as far as helping people. But when it comes to the Black male image, she did us dirty as hell, especially when it comes to being in our children's lives. Then you had other people like Donahue and Ricky Lake and all them other talk shows back in the day because Black men didn't have a platform. See, Black women just could just go on the end on television and cry, and people would listen to them, and then it would be exacerbated by the media of how Black men just don't love their kids. Black men hate Black women. This, that, and the third. Well, now we have proof that that's not really the case. It is a little painful when you have to realize what we have to fight for right now is that we have to pretty much fight for the truth because they don't want us to have the truth. But the truth is, Black men, the fatherlessness that they have said about you is a lie. Now, are there Black dads out there who don't take care of their kids? Absolutely. But do the women pick those men? Yes, they do, because those are the men they're mostly attracted to. But the men who don't have kids, All the ones who don't have kids. But the ones who do have kids, we got to remember 36% of black men are married. That doesn't guarantee that all these 36% of black men have had kids in marriage. They probably could have had a kid before marriage and then had a kid after marriage. So let's just be a little open about how we are sexually in the black community because we're very irresponsibly sexual. Then we got to think about the fact that the 54% of black men who don't have kids, it doesn't necessarily correlate to them being single. I know the popular term is single and childless, but I think it's more just childless because you could be in a relationship and not have any kids. It's possible. It's not impossible, and it's very possible that the black men who are married also just didn't want kids, and the woman probably didn't want kids. And you got to think about gay relationships where they probably had to adopt a child, so it's not really theirs, but on paper it is. So it's really just something to think about. And something that I also love the fact that it says black men are the most involved. Well, this generation of black men have to be the most involved because our dads really weren't like that. So, yeah, we tend to try to do better than the previous generation of men did because we saw the men our mothers picked. We didn't want to be those men, which correlated to some other issues down the line of today, but we're trying. And the black fatherhood numbers have shown that we're the most involved. We tend to help our kids with our homework more. Hell, we'll even bathe the kids. You know what I'm saying? We do what we do for our kids. We walk with our kids, take them to school, pick them up from school, interact with our kids on an intimate level, like, hey, I love you. You know, how like things like that. We show our kids love. But for some damn reason, if you ask the women, we are the spawn of Satan. But luckily for y'all who are watching this video, I have a black woman who's willing to tell the truth right now.
The truth about Black fatherhood. The stereotype of Black fathers as absent and Black children as fatherless was first introduced over 50 years ago. Truth moment, Black fathers are more involved than their counterparts of other races. While we can't equate the number of unmarried dads to the number of fatherless children, we can determine that marriage rates don't necessarily reflect the number of fathers living with their children. According to the CDC, studies performed in 2008, 2013, and 2018, self-reporting fathers and mothers' reports echoing these findings, non-resident white fathers were less involved than that of African Americans and Latino fathers. Mothers also shared that Black fathers shared responsibilities more frequently and displayed more effective co-parenting than that of Hispanic and white fathers. While father involvement drops sharply once they are no longer in the home, these declines are far less dramatic for African American fathers. So to share and show a little more gratitude, I want to say, okay, black man, we see you. You are noticed and we see it. Thank
So as
you.
y'all can see, even there are some black sisters out there who are looking at the numbers and looking at the facts and statistics and going, oh, we've been lying on these brothers for a long time. Beautiful. I like that. Now that the women are starting to see it, the men are starting to see it, there needs to be some correlation on how we fix some of this bullshit that's been being pushed on black fatherhood for a long time. Now, I'm not saying there aren't black dads out there, but for y'all to say black men in general just don't take care of their kids is diabolical behavior, especially when you have black men who want their children. But a lot of the times, it's never addressed that a lot of the mothers keep the kids away from the father. A lot of mothers put the dad on child support when she doesn't get what she wants, or if she sees that he got another woman, even though she's probably the one who ended the relationship, things like that. Even though it's been shown that black men are really great at co parenting, we should be good at being married to the mother of our children, but I understand how the culture is set up for black people. I understand how the black community just doesn't respect the idea of having your kids in marriage. So there's things there that we need to fix. And like I said, with a 54% out of wedlock birth rate, a lot of black women are sharing the same men and sharing baby daddies with multiple different women. So we can't even sit here and say that the black kids are fatherless. They have a father. He just got 10, 12, 13, 14 other kids. So he can't see you all. And when you got the fact that you got men like that dude down at was in Atlanta, he got like 34 kids or some shit like that with 17 women. Then you got rappers having 20 kids with 20 women, some with 10 women, some with it's just ridiculous. Look at Nick Cannon's numbers. So yeah, the fatherlessness in the black community is coming from dudes, a small number of men making all these kids with multiple women, but the women are okay with doing it. So instead of blaming the men who are responsible, it's blame all the black men, even the active dads or the men who don't have kids. It's not a one-to-one ratio. I know a lot of people like to try to point it out like that, like, oh, one black woman, one black man, they made a kid, she's a single mom. No, it's one black woman, two black women, three black women, four black women, one dude who's dirty with his dick. And that's the real reality. And when y'all say, oh, y'all not holding the men who don't take care of their kids accountable, the men who take care of their kids and the men who don't take care of their kids don't hang out together. They're not in the same group. They're not in the same situations. They're not at the same hangout spots. They're two different men. The men who have kids only fuck with men who have kids who take care of their kids because they all have something in common. We both love our kids. We all love our children. Let's take our kids out together. Let's hang out. Da 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 da. This and the third. Me and my kid did this. Me and my kid did this. We love our kids though. Then you got the dudes in the group who don't take care of their kids because they all have one thing in common. They get all the women and they have all the kids. So yeah, they hang out together because they're not going to hold each other accountable. They're competing to see who can get more baby moms under their belt, and the women are competing to see who can keep the dudes. And that's the reality of the conversation that nobody wants to talk about. The fact that the women are more lined up with the men who don't take care of their kids to sleep with them than the men who do take care of their kids is why we have this fatherlessness issue in the first place. It's because one dude cannot stretch out to 15 kids. But let's just blame black men, right? Well, here's the thing. I got somebody here that's going to break this situation down a little bit too. Not as great as I did, but he's going to address the reason why there might be a fatherlessness issue in the community, basically breaking down that the women choose the men that they choose to have kids with.
Let's talk about black fathers and their involvement in their child's lives. The media will have you believing that they're not the most involved parent of any racial ethnic group until you sit down and actually do the research for yourself. Now, you'll hear some ladies come on and say, well, not my baby daddy. Well, ma'am, who picked them? Who? Who picked your baby daddy? Because if men cannot decide, right? We can't decide who impregnates you, who you're allowed to date, because that will call misogyny, right? That will be called over controlling, right? That will be called narcissism, right? If we can't dictate who you're supposed to pick and your daddy can't tell you, oh, maybe he wasn't involved, whatever, can't tell you who to pick, whose fault is it? Whose fault?
Black fathers more involved in their children's lives compared to other racial groups, a fact so obscured by a different narrative that U.S. House of Representatives member Frederica Wilson, founder of Miami's 5,000 Black Role Models mentoring program, called this policy meeting in the U.S. Capitol to change.
It is very disingenuous the way they are perceived and stereotyped across this nation. And it's time to amplify the message.
Her Congressional Commission on the Social Status of Black Men and Boys plans to attack disparities and misconceptions with more research.
Data, facts, and statistics over emotions and feelings. Let's talk about it.
See? So that's basically what it comes down to. See how the stereotypes is being pushed out in the media? I'm glad if y'all paid attention to that last part of the video, how the woman on the news said there is a stigma to put black men under the bus in the media, and we got to get it out the way. What the brother was saying was, yes, he said what I said. There are men who don't take care of their kids, but who's giving these men children? It ain't other men. We can't tell you not to sleep with them. We can't tell you not to have a baby with them. So who's putting themselves in these situations? But again, as Sarge Willie P said, the blame black men industrial complex never misses its time to do it. That's why we have the situations that we have. It's sad because it's like, oh, all these black men are just having all these kids and they're just abandoning us after we have the children. But also, why are you having children with somebody and you just having kids and you didn't stop to think, maybe I don't want to have a kid with this person? But the answer is, I was young and dumb. That's not fair. Oh, I love the person. Oh, the D was good. I was digmatized. Whatever, whatever, whatever. And there's always some magical excuse for why y'all are in the situations y'all are in. But at the end of the day, y'all need to start telling the truth about the men that y'all picked, knowing who they were, because usually when it comes to attraction, that person, 9 times out of 10, was your type. So we know a lot of solid black men get rejected because they don't have the aesthetic that has been basically boxed black men into one type of black man works and all the others don't. See, the weird thing about it is, I'll probably address this in another video. Black men are the only race of men that are basically shoved into one corner as what you can be. Every other community has subcultures, the nerds, the hillbillies, the punks, the gothics, the spiritual people, the earthy people. They all have their own little areas in their communities. In the black community, you are hood, you are thought it out, you are this, that, and third, or you're not black at all. That might be one of the most damaging things that happen to the community. And I'm not blaming hip hop at all, because hip hop was supposed to be empowering, uplifting, and a bit political to get black people's voice out there because y'all didn't want to hear us any other way. So we put it in the music. And I genuinely don't believe that hip hop culture told black people to become single parents and just not take care of the kids. That just came as an amplification recently. This was not always hip hop. This was a thing that came recently. When you think about the women who are having kids in the celebrity world, look at Sky Jackson, look at Kiki Palmer, look at their baby dads. Those two women had access to upper echelon men, period. Kiki Palmer's had access to upper echelon men for years. I remember Kiki Palmer on The Kill and the Bee. She been famous. She been up top. And look at her baby dad. Same thing with Sky Jackson. I remember little Sky Jackson on Bunked, and was it Jesse? I think it was Jesse before Bunked. I remember little Sky Jackson. Everyone said, "Oh, little black girl from the suburbs, she done made it. She doing her thing. Look at her. She could have been the next big star like Zendaya." But instead, she decided to go get pregnant by Dirty Dick Don, and now look where she is. She's a potential single mother because I don't think her and that dude are going to stay together long. It's sad to see a lot of our talented, very high potential black women going down with dudes like this. See, I'm Holly Bailey's different because at least DDG has potential. Like, I'm not going to say DDG is up there or DDG is this perfect dude, but he's up there, and we actually see him spend time with his child. So even if Holly Bailey's a baby mom, DDG's in his kid's life. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Kiki Palmer and her baby dad reconciled. I'm not 100% sure on that situation. Seems like he might want his kid though. So who knows? I mean, I would like them to want to be in their kids' lives, but it's not a guarantee. The other thing is, everyone's saying that a lot of these black boys are out here having kids young. Not really true. It's been proven already that most of the time, more times than not, black men are more likely to have their first kid after 25. And black women are more likely to have their first kid before 25. And we do know women like older men, so the correlation could really be there. It's a little strange, but it is there. You know what I mean? Like we know women are usually attracted to older men just on regular basis. So it's not impossible that the older men could be impregnating the younger women, and that could be what's happening, but it's not completely it's not the complete scenario. And it's a very good chance that black women are just getting pregnant by any age. A dude their same age, a little younger than them, a little older than them, a bunch older than them. All the possibilities is there. But I want y'all to look at something because I always got to go to my man Medium Man because he must really he gonna question me one day. But he just puts the numbers out there, and I want these numbers to get out there. Period. So here we go with the Medium Man.
I'm gonna just let y'all know right now. This is where this conversation of black men having all these children while they're young, it ends here. Because I'm gonna show y'all a figure and it's gonna shock you. And it's rather embarrassing for the black community and for our younger women, but it needs to be said. Black or African American, single race, black women under the age of 20. This is the percentage of black women under the age of 20 that had children. 42.2% of black women had children between 2015 and 2019 under the age of 20. 42% right there. Between 20 to 24, you get 34.9%, 77.1%. 77% for black women age at first child's birth under the age of 20 to 20 to 24. That's 77.1%. So you guys are probably asking, what does all this stuff affect? That means that when black women get married at age 32, which is the average first marriage, chances are they already have kids. The majority of black women already have kids. So when people ask questions like, well, why are the marriage rates so low in the black community? It's because of the fact that our black women have already given birth to somebody's kid. That's one of the reasons. We're not done. I got the black men statistics as well. So when we have these conversations about all these black men running rampant, it's a shock to people that a lot of men in particular aren't having sex like that. and when you think about it, it's like, man, well, how can that be? Well, how are all these women having all these kids? Because there's a select few of men that are having sex with the majority of women, especially in the black community. So this is how you quantify these talking points on YouTube. Age at first child's birth for men, age 15 to 49, black or African American, single race, black men under the age of 20 between 2015 to 2019, 14.1%. 14.1%. So if young black women under 20, 42% are having children, but only 14.1% of black men are having children under the age of 20, are fathering children, where's the problem? Okay, I think we get it now.
So, yep, a lot of black men don't be just having kids under 25 like that. Now, I do know this was kind of a thing back in the day where like teen pregnancy was at a crazy high rate, right? But even then, I genuinely believe y'all were still sharing baby dads even back in the day because this is kind of when this shit started. So, yeah, black men, this is just the unfortunate reality that's been put on us for a very long time. And even with all of these things stacked against us, like I said before, we have been managing to push through as hard as we possibly can. And it's crazy because 30 plus years ago, Scheherazade Ali did a book, you know what I mean, titled The Black Man's Guide to Understand the Black Woman. But then she also did The Black Woman's Guide to Understand the Black Man. And she broke down so many things in that book about the system, what it was designed to do, how they ripped us out of the home, away from our kids, away from you, how they pretty much elevated you to look down on us. And she broke down, I was never trading the black man for feminism. She was there. Like she watched all of these things take place. So imagine her at her age now seeing the things that happened having a terrible, terrible snowball effect in today's time frame. And I remember she was saying something real specific a couple years ago. She kind of like made a republic appearance on the internet. and she was talking to, I believe it was Mediocre Tutorial and Reviews, and I might even do a video on Scheherazade Ali, but she was basically saying all of these things that's going on in society is just a sign of what's to come, right? And she also did a video and she talked to Courtney Michelle, and she was saying like we're in the last days of this society basically, and everything wrong that's been done to us should be revealed. And I think it's a wild concept that she said it, but I honestly trust her. We might just fuck around and be in the last days of the current society we're living in, right? And she might be right. We might be finding out. As a matter of fact, we already are. We're already finding out everything that's been done to black men specifically, but the black community as a whole. And this fatherlessness and this ripping us out the homes is one of them. But yet, we've still managed to find a way to be in our kids' lives. Even if we don't have our own kids, we stepdad more than any other race of man, which I'm kind of glad that shit's going out the window. But we've even gone out of our way to make someone else's kids' lives easy. Hell, then Reggie Bush, I think Reggie Bush said he had a good stepdad, right? Yeah. Even when we don't have our own kids, we get them to the NFL. Like, you feel me? And we do a damn good job of it. But I'm glad to see black men realizing our true potential by basically saying we're not going to be stepdads anymore. We want our own economic stuff. We want to build our own things. We want families because we do, and we want marriage, and our numbers are telling us that. 55% of businesses are owned by us. 54% of us don't have kids. 36% of us are married. You know what I'm saying? Like, the numbers are in our favor. And no, these things are not biased against black women. It's just the numbers are in our favor to tell the truth. And I'm glad that these truths are finally getting brought to light. Something Medium Man said, it can't just be him putting these numbers out there. We all got to put these numbers out there. We got to push back. And I'll push back with him. I'll push back. Kevin Samuel started to push back. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Medium Man came out at a time where he was necessary, and he started pushing back, and I'm pushing back. Sarge Willipede pushes back. Dr. T.S. Johnson pushes back. BGS Ibmore. A lot of these brothers push back on the narrative because we've seen the truth. We've seen the numbers. I listen to people that are beneficial for the community, as you can see by my videos that I'm putting out titled, thank you to this YouTuber, and putting them in a playlist of YouTubers you should be watching. But that was a little side note, right? But again, black men, we've been doing good. We were trying here, and I think I'm going to close out on this. This is just my little touch on it. Y'all been tuned into the Black Intellectual. I'm really glad that y'all are here. I'm trying to get my channel big because I want the positive side of Black YouTube to have more of an influence than the negative side of Black YouTube. So with that being said, Black Intellectual signing out. Hit the like, comment, subscribe button, and I will see y'all on the next one.
Black man provides more in a black home than just financial support. He provides direction, guidance, gratification, fulfillment, and discipline for our children. Those are the principles that are missing in our home today, which is why our children are savage in the streets. We see those children out there sometimes acting wild and uncivilized and disrespectful because they don't respect anyone, because we didn't teach them any respect. We didn't know how. And a lot of times we look at them and we say, yeah, they're out there doing this, and we act like that they dropped down out of the sky. But those are our children. We birthed them up out of our womb.
What we know now about black fatherhood. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recently confirmed that 54% of black men have never fathered children. Only 46% of black men have ever fathered children. 72.7% of black fathers talk with their children about things that happen during the day, several times a week or more, whether they live with their children or not. 58% of black fathers live with one or more of their children, and blackdemographics.com also reported that 66% of black men live with their partners at their first child's birth, either married or cohabitating. So instead of taking the highest number, which is 72.7% of black father involvement, I'll be fair and use the average of all three involvement categories. The average of 72.7%, 66%, and 58% is 65.5%. If only 46% of black men have ever fathered children, and 65% are in their children's lives, then that means that 30.1% of black fathers are active and present in their children's lives, whether married or cohabitating. 54% of black men have never fathered children. If you add that with 30.1% of the black fathers who are active and present in their children's lives, that equals 84.1% of black men have never fathered children or are in their children's lives. That leaves approximately 15.9% of black men who could potentially be deadbeat or subpar fathers. Black men, I want you to take this information, celebrate it, and spread it as much as possible. This is the only way that you will be able to protect the black male ethic image and get this harmful stereotype and or narrative that black men are simply deadbeat fathers, because it's not true. Happy New Year and God bless.